you guys are ready, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So my name is Grace Rains. I'm Executive Director with The Conductor. How many of you are familiar with The Conductor already? Awesome. So we're a public-private partnership with UCA, and our mission is to empower entrepreneurs, innovators, and small business leaders. So we run our Elevation Center in downtown Conway, but we also do one-on-one consults with small business owners. We do workshops like what you're going to see today here, all around Central Arkansas, at the Elevation Center. Essentially, our goal, our mission is to lower barriers to entrepreneurship for small business owners, to make it easier for them to start and grow businesses. And so a lot of times we do talks like today to a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, hopefully. So a lot of you that want to become entrepreneurs someday. We've also got a couple of entrepreneurs in the room here today as well that are already running businesses. So I'm going to talk today on Pivot to Profit, a side hustle workshop. So how do we take side hustles and turn them into profitable business models? How do we start a side hustle and make it a profitable business? How do we run a side hustle like a true business? Because I think a lot of times when you're working a regular 9 to 5 and you're also running a side hustle, it's easy to not treat it like a business, even though at the end of the day, you're running a business, you're a small business owner. So what is a side hustle? When you think of side hustles, what does that mean to you? I'm keen on audience participation. I apologize in advance. I know it's awkward. Yeah. Yeah, something you do on the side. So you got a 9 to 5 job. You're doing some work on the side. You're bringing in some money. Yeah. So any supplemental income that you're doing outside of your regular 9 to 5, right? So some stats here. When we look at the most recent generation, so Gen Zs and millennials, side hustles increase exponentially. And so there's a lot of reasons that we could see why that may be. But when you look at about more than half of Gen Zers, about 53% currently have side hustles, and about a half of millennials as well. And then even when you look at Gen X, about 40% of them have a side hustle. And so we're seeing those numbers exponentially increase. We really saw the increase after COVID. And so you may say, well, why would that be? A lot of people lost confidence in their 9 to 5 during COVID. People got laid off, but then a lot of people picked up extra hobbies and activities while they were at home with COVID. We had less things to do, so they picked up side hustles during COVID and kind of continued them on, and they became profitable businesses. So there's a lot of reasons we can assume that happened, but just know the numbers are going up, especially in my generation, in your generation, and in some of the younger generations. So over half of solo businesses are doing it on the side. So there's about 26 million what we would call solopreneur business owners in the United States. So solopreneur is someone who's like a one-person shop. So they're running a business just on their own, just them. So they're a one-person consultant or they're a side hustle, something like that. They don't have employees. It's just them. And that makes up about 81% of the total businesses in the United States. About 60% of that 26 million solopreneurs are doing it as a side hustle. That's a lot of side hustles happening in the United States. The reason that you might see a lot of those is because when you look at six-figure business owners, based on a survey of 200 six-figure business owners, 81% of them claim that they started that business as a side hustle. So six figures, $100,000 or more. So people that are making $100,000 or more, 81% of them said they started as a side hustle first. So this is a really key entry point for small business owners to start their business. And so why does all that matter is that people are doing it. And so why shouldn't you be, right? People are out there making money with side hustles. They're working 9 to 5s. A lot of times entrepreneurship can feel really risky, and it can feel like, okay, if I go do that instead of my 9 to 5, am I going to be able to make enough for my rent, for my mortgage, or my car payment? And it's not an either or, it can be an and. It can be in addition, and a lot of people are doing it and making money, and then turning it into profitable business models down the road. So examples of some side hustles. So when we say side hustles, there's a ton of them out there, right? You see influencers, podcasters, those are side hustles. People selling digital products online. That's a big one that's been coming up recently. That's a side hustle. So there's those that you can do online, like reselling, selling Etsy products, selling digital products, print on demand businesses. But then there's those in-person businesses that have been there forever. Landscaping. You have delivery drivers, right? A lot of them are doing that on the side. Pet sitting, dog sitting, house sitting, cleaning houses. People do all of that. Those are all side hustles potentially. So it doesn't have to be a digital-based business or a home-based business. It can be, a physical business that you're just doing on the side. A big one here recently that we've also seen increase is selling online courses. So there's a lot of platforms out there where you can sell online courses. You're a subject matter expert in something, you go sell online courses. So these are some examples of different types of side hustles that we often see. It's not a comprehensive list, but just some food for thought. Anybody in the room have a side hustle related to these? Yeah, Grant? Yeah, what do you have? Landscaping? Landscape side hustle? Yeah.
Poshmark.
Poshmark? Yeah, sell it on Poshmark? Absolutely. Anybody else? Awesome. So there's really 4 key tips when we start talking about running a successful side hustle that I want to cover today. We're going to go through each one of them. So it's going to be pretty quick and easy. So number 1 is how you structure your business or how you structure your side hustle, and therefore how you reduce your risk with that side hustle. So it's probably like the least sexy part of running a side hustle, but you want to make sure you're structuring your business appropriately to protect yourself and also to run an appropriate business model. Defining your business model. So what is your business model? How are you structuring that? And making sure that we're being intentional about the way we structure it. I think it's easy to kind of throw a side hustle together, but then not be intentional about the way we're running it, promoting it, analyzing our finances, things like that. So defining a business model, and then operating like a real business, because a side hustle is a real business. And the way we make it successful is by running it like a real business. So a lot of the tips and tricks you'll see for business owners that are doing it full time are going to work for a side hustle. We just need to pare them down a little bit, right? So we're talking a little bit about finances, marketing, and then operations for your side hustle. And then number 4 is tapping into resources. I'm an entrepreneur support organization, and so I cannot leave you without telling you about the resources you can tap into to help you get a side hustle up and running, right? So the key here in all of this, and kind of the underlying summary of everything I'm going to talk about, is don't be busy, be productive. So we're not leaning into like hustle culture with running a side hustle. We're trying to be productive. We're trying to make money here. And so we're not just doing it to say we have one. We're not just spinning our wheels. We want to at the end of the day do this and make some money off of it. So don't be busy, be productive. So number 1 is structuring your business and reducing your risk. So creating a legal entity. So like I said, this is not very fun, but a lot of side hustles are running off what we call sole proprietorships. Are y'all familiar with a sole proprietorship? So essentially with a sole proprietorship, you run the business through your personal taxes, through your personal social security number, and that is all fine and good and legal. There is nothing wrong with running it that way. Where it does run into some issues is the risk factor. So if you don't separate yourself from your business, if you're running it completely under your own finances and through your bank account and all of that, all of the risk or the inherent risk in that business is also personal risk to you, right? So we're not separating ourselves at all from our business. And so if something happens while you're running your business, you go to scale it, you are personally liable for all the business risk of your business. Or you can go file an LLC, a limited liability company, or corporation, and you can separate yourself, create a separate entity for business, and all that risk transfers to that LLC. So if anyone, let's say you're running a dog walking business, you lose the dog. You're running a dog walking business, you trip an old lady while running that dog walking business, she tries to sue you and your business. Crazy stuff. I mean, the US is the most litigious country in the world. So those kind of things happen. People sue. If you have created an LLC, they cannot personally come after you, your personal assets, or any of that. They can only come after your business assets because you separated yourself. You're no longer a sole proprietor. And so it provides some protection. There's a little bit of cost in creating that separate entity, but to me, there's a benefit to it. We saw a lot of financial benefits during COVID. So if you're familiar with like the paycheck protection program that they did through COVID, a lot of sole proprietors really got messed up through that. Because for the first round of PPP funding, if you were a sole proprietor, you were not eligible. So if you were not running yourself through running your business through an LLC and paying yourself through an owner draw, they did not consider you paying yourself a paycheck, and there was no paycheck protection for you. That could have been your full-time gig. You could have been over 6 figures. There was no money for you on the table. When someone who was running the exact same business as you, who had it set up as an LLC, could access that program. Because the United States government really views people as like the number of businesses as the number of LLCs, S Corps, C Corps, things like that. You know, although they'll allow you to run it through your taxes as a sole proprietor, when they're really looking at those kind of government programs that support small businesses, it's through the LLC. And so setting up that way can have very minimal cost. You've got some franchise taxes you got to pay each year, but it really can be beneficial to you and your liability set up that way. So I will preach that till the day I die, because I saw a lot of business owners, especially through PPP. I had one business owner that had from rental properties who was doing it as a side hustle. He had it at 9 to 5, but he had it set up under an LLC. And then I had one who was not renting, who did not have a 9 to 5, who was running some rental properties, and that was his full-time gig. But he had it set up as a sole proprietor. One got PPP, one did. And it was crazy because they were running the same type of business. Honestly, one of them was part-time and one was running it full-time. One, it was at his actual paycheck. The other one, it was just supplemental income. So it can really be beneficial to set yourself up that way. Banking's the same way. So if you're running your finances through your personal bank account, taxes at the end of the year can get crazy if you are running an LLC and running it through your personal bank account. And so once you set up that legal entity and separate yourself, you also need some business banking accounts to set that up. And the key here is when we set up that LLC and we set up those business bank accounts, we want to be operating the business through that, right? So if we set up an LLC and we set up a business bank account, but then we still operate the business through our personal finances, there's no technical separation and we're still operating under the business. And so that risk is still transferred. So setting those things up, like setting up your separate bank account, setting up a separate entity, and then operating like that is the best way to reduce your risk, make it easier for you to tax at the end of the year, and all of that. So that's my number one tip is let's structure it appropriately. Let's operate our finances appropriately and truly make it a true legitimate business. And then finally, insurance. So just have an initial conversation with a commercial lines insurance provider and talking about some general liability. It can be a lot less expensive than you think it's going to be. And it can really protect you if something crazy happens. Somebody tries to sue you, something goes wrong. The policies can be pretty cost effective. It can really save you, especially as your business really starts to grow and your side hustle gets more popular. And a lot of times this is one of the things that gets overlooked. So we're reducing our risk there as well. So number two, I want to talk about defining your business model. So a lot of times we're just going out there and we've created some kind of idea. We're running a landscaping business, or we're creating digital products. We haven't really thought through any of the pieces of the puzzle to create a viable business model. How many of you are familiar with the Lean Canvas business model? A few of you? Yeah. So we use what's called the Lean Canvas business model, which is essentially a one-pager business model that helps you establish your business plan, your business model without having to do like a 30-page business plan. And the reason we don't go with a 30-page business plan is a lot of times you create one of those or you pay somebody to create it for you and it goes and sits on the shelf, right? It's not usable. It's not tangible in the everyday of your business or how you operate your side hustle. But a Lean Canvas is a one-pager. So it's a very clean model that you actually can operate your business off of, that you can use it to mold your business. And the Lean Canvas makes you think through some things that you otherwise may just like put to the side, that you may not be thinking about, but are important considerations in your business. So we start with your customer segment. So who are your target customers? And you list those out as your customer segments. And so this can be, you can get really detailed with it, and it can be your ideal customer profile. So you can, really target out the demographics or the firmographics of who your customer segments are. And then we talk about the problems. So what are the top 3 problems that your side hustle, your business is solving for those key customer segments, right? We want to be tying this together. So what are the 3 problems that you are solving with your solution, with your product, with your service? Why are customers coming to you? Then we move to our unique value proposition. So our UVP is that advantage that we provide to our customers that no one else is providing. Why is our solution the best solution for the problem that we're solving? Why are they coming to us? What makes us so valuable to them that they're going to use our product over someone else's? So we've got our customers, the problem we solve, and then why we solve that problem so well that we're the one that they choose to solve that problem. And so it can be, let's say, Grant, I'm picking on you a lot, but the landscaping business. Why is this landscaping business so valuable or so much better? Is it because we do a week-to-week contract? And so that's our unique value proposition. We're not going to tie you into anything. Is it because we tie everything together and we also treat your yard for bugs? So not only do we do landscaping, we're also doing pest control. What's the unique thing that makes it valuable to your client? So it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be, it can be, talk about different types of innovation. It doesn't have to be breakthrough innovation. It doesn't have to be disruptive. It can be incremental. Like we're just taking two existing services, putting them together. It makes it easier for our clients, and that's why they choose us, right? So what's our unique value proposition? And then finally, we get to solution. So what's the product, the service? What are we actually providing as a solution that's mapped directly to those problems that we're solving, right? We want to make sure it actually solves the problem. What's the solution we're providing for our clients? And then 5, what's the path to our customers? What are those channels? How are we going to access these people in relation to marketing and selling our solution? And then we talk about the value it created. So what's the positive impact that we create with our solution? And then what's the cost structure and budget? So we want to talk through like what are our fixed costs related to this, or even our incremental costs related to whatever we're providing. So if we need to, that can be front end costs, that can be monthly costs, but what is kind of the cost structure of our business model? And then key metrics, which we'll talk about those a little bit more here in a little bit. But what are the key numbers that tell us how our business is doing in relation to financial success, customer success? Are we bringing enough revenue? Are we meeting our goals? What are those metrics? And then finally, number 9 is buy-in and support. So who are those key influencers and potential saboteurs to your solution? And so those can be people that maybe aren't your target customers, but are people that potentially influence whether or not you get to those target customers or whether or not your solution fits. So for example, if I was creating a solution or selling something to college students, universities, professors, maybe a potential influencer saboteur there, right? They could, if I get them bought in and they're promoting it as a good thing for their students, then that could potentially help me sell it. If they don't think that I'm solving the problem correctly and I'm not a good solution for their students, they're not going to promote me to their students, right? Maybe they'll say, hey, don't go use this product. So that's just kind of how we define. So this is essentially a one-pager business model. So, and thinking through a lot of these things can seem a little pedantic, right? Like you're just putting it on paper, but if you really put some thought process into it and think through some of those things, they can help craft your marketing messages. They can help you craft a budget structure, so you can help ensure that you're keeping your costs down. Because I think sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to buy this subscription and this subscription, and have this and automate this, and at the end of the day, you got like $300 in recurring expenses for a business that hasn't brought a single dollar in yet. Okay, maybe we need to pull those back. So creating that budget can be important. Same way creating your personal budget is important, right? We talk about that all the time, having a personal budget. So does this make sense? Any questions on Lean Canvas model? The best resource that I have is that if you're interested in a how-to model of putting together a Lean Canvas, we have a great how-to video on a walk step-by-step. It's like a 15-minute video on how to put together a Lean Canvas. And so whenever you're ready to sit down and really put together the business model, I highly recommend going and downloading the Lean Canvas and then sitting down in this video and filling out each block. Hearing the explanation, filling out that block, moving to the next block. This is a great way to get started with Lean Canvas. Our team's also happy to sit down with anyone that wants to bring Lean Canvas. All right, so number 3 is operating like a real business, because side hustles are real businesses, right? So we're going to operate this thing as if it's a real business from a financial perspective, from a marketing perspective, and from an operations perspective. And so when we talk about operating like a real business with our finances, we want to regularly analyze those finances. And that feels real big and scary, right? Like analyzing finances. That can be in a very small side hustle type business. It doesn't have to be big and scary. That's saying, okay, here's what my monthly expenses are regularly. Here's some, expenses maybe I incurred just this month. Here's what we brought in, and here is my bottom line revenue, or my bottom line profit. Or here's my top line revenue. Here's my expenses. Here's my bottom line profit. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think a lot of times, even in our personal finances, people feel real icky about finances. Like we don't want to go open our bank statement and see how much we spent, because we don't want to know how many times we stopped at Shadrack's on the way to, UCA every day. Like it gets a little like icky feeling, right? But if we don't know what those expenses are, then there's no way for us to project what we're going to make. There's no way to know, are we really growing each month over time? Is this thing ever going to be profitable? There's no way to have projections, performance, anything like that, if we're not taking a look at those finances. And then even putting some key performance indicators, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, around where we want to be with those finances. So what do we need them to look like to actually make this profitable at the end of the day. So it's worth our time, because I think a lot of times we focus so much on the money coming in, well, there's more coming in, but are we actually making profit? Are our expenses increasing faster than what the profit is that's coming in, or is it increasing, in a way that makes it beneficial to us? What are we actually making at the end of the day? Am I spending 20 hours a week on this and making $40? So now I'm making $2 an hour, woohoo, and that's before taxes. So if we don't look at those finances and actually know what's coming in and what that looks like compared to our expenses, we really don't know whether or not our business is profitable. And so that leads me to bringing in money versus making money. This seems very simple. This is very hard a lot of times for business owners to understand, especially with side hustles, is that you see money coming in and you see you got a Shopify account, you see the dollars coming in and the orders coming in, but bringing in money doesn't always mean you're making more money. So if bringing in money increases your expenses to the point that you're not making any more money, then now you're just working harder and you're not making any more. So sometimes we look at vanity metrics like revenue, top line revenue, instead of bottom line profit on what's actually coming to us as far as our profit at the end of the day. And so sometimes I'll ask, if you could make twice as much take home money with half as much revenue, would you want to do that? And everybody's like, yeah, absolutely. Okay, then why are we so focused on how much money is coming in? Why aren't we focused on how much money we're taking home at the end of the day? Because we don't care if we've got 15 locations or one location or no locations, if we can double the amount of take home money we have without doing any of that. So focusing on how much money we're actually making versus how much money is coming in the door is really important. And then focusing on the right financial growth metrics, and that kind of leads itself into bringing in money and making money. So a lot of times people want to measure their business growth in the number of geographies they're serving, or the number of offices that they have, or even the number of customers they have. And really all of that is not an indicator of growth, right? Top line growth and bottom line growth is all that we're worried about as far as money, because this is all vanity. That's all, like, number of employees that you have, number of offices, geographies, customers, that's all vanity. There are business owners that are making more money than some brick and mortars here in Conway working out of the AIC as one-man shop on a computer. And they don't have any of this going on. That's all about vanity. We don't care how many employees you have, how many geographies you serve, how many customers you're serving. If you can serve 3 customers and make $1 million a year, good for you. Let's do that, right? What we care about is that top line growth, and really this bottom line growth is what we're focused on. How much net income are you bringing in at the end of the day? And so these are the numbers that we want to focus on. There are other numbers that are important, right? There's tracking your customers, very important. We want to know that those numbers are increasing, but at the end of the day, we need this to increase, and this needs to be our focus area. That makes sense? All right. So next I want to talk a little bit about marketing. So that was our finances. We're going to talk a little bit about marketing and the marketing funnel, and how you can create a marketing funnel approach. And if you were in my class this morning, I apologize, because this was also what we talked about this morning. So just bear with me. Now you're getting it twice, right? So you didn't really hear it this morning. Now you get to hear it again. So I'm an adjunct professor in the college business, by the way. I forgot to mention that. So we talked about our target customers and our customer segments, and those are our potentials, right? They're all the people out there that could potentially be customers for our business. What we want to do is we do all these things in order to engage those customers, to even know that our brand exists, to know that our solution exists to their problems. Okay. So sometimes we have to engage them and make them aware that their problem exists, right? Or a solution their problem exists. But we want to engage them. Then they move to visitors, right? They're visiting our website, they're visiting our social media pages, they're visiting our store maybe, but they become visitors. Now we're trying to convert them to leads or even to customers. So how do we then engage them to where we've got them in our pipeline, we know they're interested, and now we're trying to engage them to customers. And then once we have them as a customer, they've purchased whatever we have. We would love to move most of them to be supporters, right? They're providing Google reviews. They're telling their friends about us. They're maybe providing some affiliate marketing for us. But they're becoming our supporters, to where they're big fans of our business and they're bringing us more business. And so that's how this continuum works. We're engaging, we're converting, we're closing, and then we're building on the people that we close. Okay. So when we start here, we talk about our potentials. A great way to engage potentials is when we see blogs, right? We're positioning ourselves as a subject matter expert in the problem that they have, and then solving that problem, right? So how do we position ourselves? We run a podcast, we have a blog, we optimize our website so that when they go Google their problem, we're the ones that come up. We're optimizing social media, and maybe we're even doing some paid ads so that they're aware that that we're solving the problem. So they become visitors. So maybe we convert them to a website or a landing page. We convert them to some area where they're learning more about what we do, but we're also somehow collecting your information. So are y'all familiar at all with gated content? Have you ever heard of? So if you've ever had to go to a website and you're researching something and you want to learn more about it, and you're like, oh, well, we have this great white paper on social media, and you just have to give us your name and your email address, and we'll give it to you for free, right? Free. Nothing's ever free. They're taking your information, and then now you're a lead for them, right? They know that because you landed on that page, you're interested in what they have to provide. And so they've gained your information. And so that's gated content, when basically you have to provide your name and information in order to access that content. Then they take that list and turn you into a lead. And so now they can nurture you into potential customers, but they know that you're in their target demographic because somehow they've captured you and you were interested in what they had to sell. So we're trying to capture people and turn them from visitors to potential leads. So we can do that through gated content. We can do that through a newsletter sign up. If you've ever seen that, where they're like, hey, you're interested in this, sign up for a newsletter. And you're like, okay, yeah, sure, I'm interested in that. Now you're a lead for them. A lot of times you'll see this, you visit a website, you're shopping, you add some things to your cart, and you don't check out, right? So that makes you a lead. Then you get an email all of a sudden, and it's like, hey girl, you left a few things in your cart. You want to check out? Now you're a lead for them, right? And so you haven't become a customer yet, but they're going to provide emails and drip campaigns and automation to try and convert you from a lead to a customer. Okay. And then once you buy, that's when you start getting those surveys, referral programs. They want you to give them a Google review, testimonials, things like that. That all makes sense on how we're nurturing them through this process. So this is a great way, especially in like the digital marketing area for you, or in the digital assets area, when you're selling things online, to convert people. But if you look at from like a brick and mortar perspective too, we can do the same thing. So for example, let's say we have a brick and mortar business. We position ourselves as a subject matter expert, or we engage them on social media, encourage them to be a visitor for our business. We run a sale, we promote that on socials. They visit our store. We want to convert them into, maybe from visitor, we skip even leads when it's an in-person, and we move straight to customer, and we engage them in a sale. So this marketing funnel works kind of across the board, whether you're doing B2B, B2C, in-person, or a virtual business. You can kind of use this marketing funnel. Just the ways that you engage may be different, but the stages and the tactics are about the same. Does that make sense? All right. So next we want to talk about operations. So when we're talking about operations of a one-person shop, I think sometimes that can be hard because you're the only person doing it. So you're like, well, I know my processes, right? I know how this works. But if you sit down and you take time, so this is a process map for how to untie a twist tie, I think is the process map. So essentially it's an example of putting processes in place. Processes are the number one and really only way to scale your business. If you don't have processes in place, there's no way you can automate those processes. There's no way that you could ever hire somebody in and bring them onto your team and teach them to do it the same way. And then you're also doing things differently every time, right? So if we don't have a process in place, then the way that we approach each customer is going to be a little bit different. If you don't have a sales process in place, then the way that we're selling is a little bit different every time. And there's no way for us to kind of iterate and optimize the way that we do anything that we do if we don't have processes in place. And so one of the things when we talk to entrepreneurs is we'll have them do an exercise of like, let's put a process together to how to create a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And we literally make them process a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And so if you guys were gonna make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, what would be your first step? You gotta get the bread, right? So we're gonna have to go to the store to get the bread. Do we go to the cabinet to get the bread? Okay, so we have bread. What would be the next step? Peanut butter. Now we need peanut butter. So we're gonna collect the peanut butter. We're gonna get peanut butter. Okay, so we process it all the way out. We're gonna have to open the peanut butter. We're gonna have to go get a butter knife. We're gonna have to, do you do your peanut butter and your jelly on the same side or different? So it's like, how are we gonna do these things so that everybody's not making our peanut butter and jelly sandwich different? So if we ever hire people on for that, and then we aren't making our peanut butter and jelly sandwich different every time. So our customers know what peanut butter and jelly sandwich to expect, right? So creating a process map can help us to really put the process in place to scale, to provide consistency, and then to optimize our own time, right? Because if we have a process, we do it the same way every time, we get faster and faster on this. This also provides opportunities for us to automate, right? So if we put processes in place, if you're a one-person shop, there's only so much time that you have. But there's a lot of opportunity out there. Now you can subscription yourself to death to some of these things. There's a lot of opportunity out there to use project management tools, to use CRMs, to use financial accounting software, to multiply yourself, and to automate some of this and to make it easier to run. So project management tools can help you tracking projects that you have currently in place. CRMs, those are customer relation management systems. They can help you with like your pipeline of customers you have coming in. So let's say you have some people that you've gone out and quoted some stuff for, you throw them in your CRM, and it can automatically remind you to follow up with them. You got financial accounting, QuickBooks reminds you to invoice people, things like that. So you're not doing all of this just on your own in an Excel spreadsheet somewhere. A lot of these tools can make you faster and more efficient and put processes in place.
For any of those, do you know if there's any sort of ERP that's like specifically designed for solopreneurs and small businesses that kind of has those components all in one interface?
So Airtable is a really cool. Have you ever played around with Airtable? So Airtable is a really cool. It's there's some premium versions of Airtable, and you can build out pretty much anything in Airtable from a CRM to a project management system. It connects with Zapier. You can automate Airtable. I'm a big fan of Airtable for new entrepreneurs if you are tech savvy enough to build it out to make it effective for you, and that's the key. Is because you're gonna have to build it out on your own. It's pretty user friendly. You don't have to code or anything, so you're not building code, but you're having to make it effective. And so it's pretty cost effective and it's pretty customizable as far as what it can do. So you can integrate like surveys in there, customer surveys can go in there. So you could build like a HubSpot style CRM out of Airtable, and just how much time you can spend on that. So great question. All right, and then other ones. You've got marketing tools. DocuSign type tools. So if you're, sending a contract to your clients, use DocuSign. That can make it a little easier. So how do we automate and make it easier on ourselves so that we're multiplying ourselves without multiplying the team, right? So we're not having to hire people. We're automating things. We're putting processes in place to make it easier for us to run the business, more cost effective, and allow us to scale without adding people to our team. And then finally, make a growth plan. So we have a whole strategic growth plan model that we use at the Conductor. For side hustles, sometimes it doesn't really fit. It's like kind of putting a square peg in a round hole, because you don't necessarily need a whole strategic growth plan for an early stage side hustle quite yet. But you do need some kind of direction and a North Star to know whether you're going where you need to go or not. And so I talk a lot about key performance indicators with early businesses, and I alluded to these a couple of times. But the key performance indicators are those 5 to 7 things that if you were on a desert island somewhere and you couldn't know anything about your business, these are the 5 to 7 things that would tell you is your business going well or is your business not going well. Those are the things that you want to know, right? They're the economic engine of your business. So they let you know that the growth is happening, the vitality is happening, we're going the direction we want to go, we're growing the way we want to grow, and there's a goal associated with them. So we say that there's 5 kind of areas, and this is Beg, Borrow, and Stole from multiple business books. So 5 key areas that you want to make sure where you have KPIs. So we want to have a client KPI, a sales revenue, a profit and cash KPI, one on employees, and one on internal processes. If you're a side hustle, you probably don't have an employee one, right? There may be another one you want to stick in there, but what are the numbers that you need to be tracking on a weekly, preferable weekly basis, maybe monthly basis, to know whether you're going up or you're going down? If things are good, things are bad. And we got goals associated with those, so we have a North Star to stretch to. So we kind of know where we're going, and we're doing the things we need to do to get there. What we talk about in our strategic growth systems, we start with kind of a vision statement, and we pare that down to long-term targets, and then short-term goals, and then quarterly rocks, and then now KPIs. And that can be valuable in some side hustles, but really, if you're going to do anything around growth planning for your business, having KPIs that are tracked to metrics, where you know whether you're going in the right direction or not, is really the first step in kind of starting to track and go in the right direction. And then number 4, finally, my last tip is tap into resources. So if I didn't stand up here and talk a little bit about the conductor, what would I be doing, right? And so I've got to talk a little bit about what we do. So we provide workshops like what you see today. So we do this here at UCA on everything from marketing to managing your finances. We've got a lot of resources on our website on past workshops. So if you want to dig more into social media management, or you want to dig more into managing your finances, we've got workshops on that. We also have an SME network of individuals who recognize Dr. Douglas from the College of Business that comes and does office hours with us. So these individuals come into the AIC and do in-person office hours and will meet with business owners at no cost. So tapping into business support. Any member of our team has a Calendly. We can go out and get time with that team member to talk through KPIs, strategic growth, putting a lean canvas together. You just don't know where to start. You got an idea for a side hustle, you don't know what to do. I went to the Secretary of State's website and I tried to file for an LLC and it was confusing. We'll help you with any of that. And then we also have our Elevation Center where, solopreneurs can come get a $25 a month membership and work and grow their business and meet peers there. So there's a ton of resources. There's resources beyond what the conductor can do too. So if you come meet with us and you have needs beyond what we're able to help you with, we will refer you out to someone who can serve your needs and help you. We have a whole statewide network of ESOs that we work with. But I think the key is you don't have to do this on your own. So you don't have to know everything about running a side hustle or running a business just inherently. You don't have to learn it on your own. You don't have to Google it. There are resources out there, people that want to help you get started and want to help you grow. And we're just one of those. So that is all that I have today. What questions do you guys have for me on side hustles or anything I mentioned? After? You don't have that question? Yeah.
So what do you propose being the best solution for, like, say you narrow down your niche and you want to get a lot of things done that you don't have the skill set for. What's the best place to outsource that as someone that's looking to be as lean as possible?
Yeah, so it probably depends on what specifically you're wanting to outsource.
Like
So
graphic design,
yeah, so I mean, I would say,
website.
graphic design, finding someone who's a full-time graphic designer that wants to have their own side hustle that was willing to contract with you for that. So if you're trying to be cost effective, it probably wouldn't be cost effective to go out and talk to an agency that does that, right? You're probably more cost effective to talk to somebody that's good at it, does it as a full-time job, and just wants to do a little bit on the side.
So maybe like Fiverr. Fiverr. So like you just, it's basically like individual jobs.
Like Upwork.
Yeah.
Kind of like
something
Upwork,
that.
yeah. Yeah, you got Upwork or Fiverr or whatever, things like that. The thing I hate about those types of organizations is you have regular work for them. One, you're not normally working with the same person, so the continuity is not always there. You're not guaranteed the work product you expect. So sometimes like the time delay can be a lot because you're going back and forth. You don't have a working relationship. Whereas if you're able to make a connection with someone who you build a working relationship with, and the work quality is high, then you can save some time and effort there and kind of build that relationship. So that could be where it'll be more beneficial. I would not suggest going out to somebody like that for their business model, but maybe friends with people that do it on the side. Great question. Other questions? Anybody run side hustles? Talk a little bit about that. Yeah, what's yours?
It's not really a side hustle. I've got like a type of marketing service, just small contract. Maybe like exterior cleaning, striping.
Is that like your job that you do outside of, like, do you have another job or is that like your job?
That's it.
That's it. So it's like less your side hustle, more of like, that's your business.
Do you guys do long-term planning? Business like that?
Yeah, so we recently did a strategic growth intensive where it was like a day-long session where we brought in business owners. We had about 16 or 17 business owners come in. They did that. So we do that. We also do one-on-ones where we'll build a business plan with the business owner one-on-one and kind of do it over months. But we would use what we call a strategic growth system, which breaks it down. We just eat the elephant all the way. It's a top-down planning approach for bottoms-up management. And so we go from basically your vision statement all the way up to KPIs, and then putting in place a meeting cadence in order to ensure that there's accountability in place to make sure those things happen. So the answer is yes.
Good.
Yeah. More questions? All right. Well, I won't belabor it then. Thank you guys for your time today. I really appreciate speaking with you. And if you're interested in engaging with the conductor, you can book time with us there. Happy to have a consult with any of you that are interested. If you just want to learn more about what we do, talk about a business idea you have or a current business that you want to grow. So thank you all for your time.